All right, we're back, JB.
Yes, we are. Another Wednesday conversation.
Another Wednesday conversation. And I know we were just talking about some of the traditions that we are looking forward to. Right now, we're building our own tradition of these Wednesday conversations, midweek pickups. But one of our favorite traditions here at Bolt On Technology is our family breakfast and our lunches that we have every month.
Yeah, it's a little thing that we do in-house because we want to feel like a family and we want to make everyone a part of it, so we all participate. And man, is that food good.
Yep. Good and bad, right?
Yeah. Good for a good taste of it, bad for you. Bacon.
Exactly. And like what we were saying was traditions usually are good things that people look forward to. It's ways to improve your culture. It's things that you look forward to year in, year out. For us, I mean, this is something we look forward to on a weekly basis. We look forward to our lunches and breakfasts on a monthly basis.
Well, if there's food involved, I always look forward to it.
Who doesn't love the food? Exactly. But what some businesses tend to also look at traditions, especially when it comes to family-owned businesses. Sometimes these traditions aren't necessarily beneficial to the business and ultimately become habits that are, not necessarily evolving the business.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things about having a family business, okay? The family has to work together. They have to live together. There's a whole lot of things going on, but over time, they're going to develop the things that make their shop successful. So dad may own it today, and he has these systems in place that are the traditions you're talking about, but things change, but he still wants the shop to do them. So that's where the battle comes in, and that's kind of where we're having this conversation about.
And so what percentage of auto repair shops are family owned? I mean, I think this is one of the most common businesses that you tend to see. Some businesses transfer generation and generation, but is it really as big as we might assume?
Well, you have to realize that a lot of these businesses formed out of necessity because there was nobody else around. So the family got pulled into it, and suddenly, boom, they're up and running. The one statistic that I can tell you, I can't tell you how many there is out there, but the survival rate's kind of tough because, about 30% of them might go out of business in the first year. And that's because you're bringing not only work together, but you're bringing family. And don't get me wrong, family's a great thing, but try living with somebody 24/7. You need a break, so that's a tough thing. And then again, dad always knows better. So how do I get around that at the shop, Dad? I think we should do it. We're going to do it the way I've always, and that's what it comes out to. So those are the traditions and the things that we think we need to change, and we have to.
And I know one of the things that we hear from a lot of our, either shop owners or technicians at the shops is sometimes it's very hard to evolve, especially when it comes to technology with shops that are very set in their traditions of how they used to, always manage their shop, their invoicing, the way that they handled their customers.
Well, you got to realize, not only is it a family business, but now it's a family interacting with other families. So all those items that you're mentioned right there are all going to be part of that process because my family runs the business, your family comes and gives us business, and we have to, this has worked for us forever, and this has worked for you. And you know what? Think about this. You may not only have multiple generations owning a shop, but you have multiple generations of customers using your shop.
That's very true.
So what comes out is that this works. This is the way we want to do it. We want to talk, forget text. I want to talk to my customers. And we all know right now that texting is more acceptable across the board out there, but many of those shops still want that family touch, that tradition they don't want to change. Though you remember the generations that are coming are also changing. So that's where we're going to have this problem.
And it's so funny that you brought up that because we prepare for some of these conversations every single week. But one of the things that we didn't touch on was the fact that it's really a family affair when it comes to the customers coming in too.
Yeah, I mean, you make that connection, and that's the thing. That's where Joe drops the keys off, just get her done, and I'll pick it up later because you've built that trust. And that's, on both sides of the fence, both sides of the desk, I should really say, is what makes it work. And now, because it's always worked that way, Dad says this is the way you're going to do it, but son's coming along, and he or she, could be a daughter also, is going to take over the business. And now we're going to start having the headbutting because we need to move in a full, but no, I'm still in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So the flip side of this with the family business is dad may be in charge at home, but is he still really in charge at work?
Absolutely.
You know, and does the family structure affect how the people work at work?
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot of stuff to work with.
Absolutely. And as we're going through this conversation, if anybody that's tuning into, this live stream is in a family-owned repair shop, we'd love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you struggle with? What are some of the things that have worked really, really great for you? Because I know this is a conversation that affects a lot of our customers out there and a lot of people within the industry. And I think another important aspect of a family-owned business, oftentimes, there is a succession plan.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're looking at it, maybe the next generation isn't necessarily fit to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps they're just car enthusiasts that love working within the shops.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps they're not the people that are talking to the customers. And I think that also plays a big role in defining, okay, what level does your family move along with the business as the generations come through?
I mean, it's a very valid point because dad has the business but has 2 children, maybe neither of them are interested in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes that whole succession plan that they have in place. And now that may be the end of the shop, or those 2 may say, hey, you know what, let's not lose the shop. Let's keep dad's tradition and hire somebody from within
Mm-hmm.
to run the business. So you have to make a lot of decisions. You have to make a lot of plans. What about emergencies?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if dad has the coronary and, who's going to take over?
Sure.
Who's going to be the person that's in charge?
Absolutely. So I think there's 4 really big main points when it comes to successfully transferring a family-owned business generation through generation. Mm-hmm. Do we want to touch on those before we sign off for today?
Well, we're trying to help people with family stores a little bit, so I would say yes.
Okay. So what are the biggest things that you want to keep in mind?
Well, the first thing that we just mentioned is a succession plan. If I could say that, that would be great. Mm-hmm. But, unfortunately, just like you got to think about a will and all that stuff, if you own a shop and it's in the family, are you going to make that plan to move it forward with the rest of your family? Is it going to be the next generation? Do they want to be involved? And there's a lot of decisions they're going to have to make right there. So having a succession plan that looks at how things are today is very, very important. Mm-hmm. The next thing I would say is you got to be very open-minded. You got to realize dad or mom, and I'm sorry, I'm always saying dad, but moms do it too. They've run the shop this way forever, and it's been successful, and they don't want all the new doohickeys and things like that. So how do you get dad or mom that's running a shop to have an open mind? Because if they don't have an open mind, it's going to be a constant butting of heads. A backup plan. You never even think about it because the succession means everything kind of went the way that maybe dad retired, maybe dad's fishing, maybe dad's doing something like that, and we had the plan in place. But what happens is something crazy happens, and maybe even the person that's going to receive it has something happen. So you've got so many angles to think about. And then finally, how do you handle the conversations in the shop? I mean, does the family structure still stand, or do you approach each other as employees? And here's the thing, too. I mean, my family had a business, not automotive. It was not a good thing when the business wound up coming into the holidays. And that's one of the reasons that family businesses are extremely hard to maintain and continue, because when you bring it to the holiday, it can be really uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So those are 4 things that you really got to think about and consider what you're going to do.
Yeah, and I think that work-life balance is so important. How you interact with, your work team mm-hmm. during the day, and while you might be a family there, it's very different from when you come home at the end of the day, and making sure there's a separation between that.
There's dinner on the plate waiting for me. No, mom's working at the shop. I had the day off. Mm-hmm. I got to cook dinner.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. But as we said before, we know a lot of our customers are family-owned business. We would love to hear from you. Either comment below, reach out to us. We'd love to get your input on what goes on at your shop, what's been really successful, and what are some things that you've learned along the way that maybe haven't worked out in your favor. But for this week, I think we covered a lot, and I'm excited to tune in again next week.
And also, let's remember, folks, it doesn't have to be a family-related topic. Give us any topic here. We'll do a bit of research, and we'll have a conversation where both we will learn, and hopefully you will learn from it too.
Perfect. All right, we will see you next week, and we will talk to you soon.